Hi there, welcome to Belt Friends. My name is Casey Hutchinson. I'm the president of Empire Rubber and Supply. And this is my podcast where I sit down with various industry leaders, folks who've been in the belting industry with stories to tell, to see what they have to share with us and what we can garner from one another. And I'm at the NIBA convention this year, so a little different setup than normal, but I'm able to grab my friend Eric O'Connor, Vice President of Sales and Marketing at Derco USA. Welcome, Eric.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me, and thank you for being part of NIBA as well and putting on this event every year. It's a lot of hard work, so it's really appreciated.
Thank you. Thank you. It's been a little bit hectic, but really rewarding, and grateful for you to be here today. So, for those who pay attention, I say NIBA a lot, but it's the National Industrial Belting Association, and Eric and I are both part of this. But beyond that, I buy belt from you, which is a good thing too. Eric, I'm going to give the floor to you. Usually, the first thing I would have you do is tell us about yourself, where you grew up, family, and education, that sort of thing.
Sure. Yep. So, born and raised in Delaware. Went to University of Delaware. Got my bachelor's in economics. I met my wife, Alyssa, in high school when we were sophomores. So
sweethearts.
Yes, exactly. So we've been together for a while. I got two awesome kids. My son is the video game expert and soccer player, athlete. And my daughter, she's the kind of bookworm but musician drummer. So they're fun. They're fun.
How old are they?
Jack is 10, about to be 11, and my daughter is 14.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so growing up, you've maintained in Delaware most of your life then, all your life?
Yeah, Delaware's a good spot because it's pretty centralized along the East Coast, so you can get to a lot of places pretty easily. You know, New York's pretty close, Baltimore. Even if you're going all the way up to Maine, you know, it's a day.
Yeah.
So
if a band's coming through, choose your venue.
Exactly. And you can't beat Philly for a concert town. You can't.
Yeah.
I know you're trying to convince me otherwise, but you
So with education and all that, did you start running into the belt industry, or did you do something before that?
So my dad, Paul Sr., he had been in belting for a while anyway, even by the time I got to high school and college. So in breaks, summer breaks, winter breaks, things like that, I would work in the shop. He started Fabrica International, their lightweight division. And they did their fabrication there. So I would come in and he would kind of teach me the ropes there along with some of the other employees, and I would do, you know, cleats and treadmill belts, shipping, things like that. So, and shout out to shippers. I think that's an underrated part of belting. People don't talk about it enough, but even when our shipper is out, I'll fill in still to this day. So it's one thing to make the belt, but you got to get it there too.
Amen. Shout out to shippers for sure. So you grew up around the industry, compliments of Dad, whether you were going to do it or not.
Well, yeah, kind of. He was never pushy with me. I mean, for me, it was a good way to make some extra money, to do something kind of cool. So I liked it, but my brother worked for my dad. He also did the same thing. He started in the shop, worked his way up. My dad was in belting for so long. After I graduated college, I wanted to be intrepid about things. I wanted to go out. They did belting. You know, they were such a big part of life that, you know, if we lived in the 1200s, my name would have been like Eric O'Belting. So I wanted to do something different, which I did for a few years. I was in two-way radio sales.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and at that time, you know, 05, two-way radios were kind of a big thing. Cell phones weren't, you know, everywhere like they were now. You couldn't just fire off a text every time you wanted.
Yeah.
After that, I did recruiting. I was a technical recruiter for, you know, engineers, architects. Really enjoyed that. Did pretty well there. But around 08, 09, that's when kind of the economy took a dive, collapsed a little bit. Hiring went down. It was starting to get tough. And my dad had a conversation with me one day. To summarize it, it was like, well, I know people aren't hiring now, but you know what people need? Belts. So it kind of made sense. So I joined him again after that. At this time, it was then Derco So Derco purchased Fabrica. Went back to the shop, got to form relationships there with Klaus and one of his right-hand men, Peter. And eventually a spot opened up in inside sales. My brother was also in inside sales, so I got to go up and work alongside of him. And he kind of took me under his wing. And we've been doing it, ever since then. He's kind of like the Lennon to my McCartney, It's one of those things.
Well, you're talking about Paul Jr. now.
Paul Jr., yes.
Older brother?
Yes.
And Paul Jr., did he jump right in it from the get-go, or did he do schooling too, or how?
He basically jumped right in from the get-go.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm guilty myself.
School wasn't his thing. He wanted to get started in his career. So.
Good for him. So you were trying to glean everything you could off of both Pauls at that point.
Yeah, I'm very fortunate because I had, two mentors that I lived at one's house, and the other one, he lived not far from me. And they had already, they knew a good bit about building anyway. So I kind of got an accelerated path. Plus, having worked in the shop and knowing how the fabrication worked and the workflow and the belts, it really helped talking to customers and inside sales, You kind of knew your product well. So I was confident enough to do it.
Yeah, those intimacies are important.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell us about Derco. At Derco, they purchased Fabrica, but they were already in existence.
Correct.
You'll give me the lowdown.
Yep, correct. They were already a manufacturer. So Klaus's dad started Derco. And then,
which country?
The Netherlands.
The Netherlands.
Over in Holland.
Yes.
Yep. So they were manufacturers of rolls of belting. They wanted a fabrication arm. My dad had built up a pretty solid reputation and had built-in customer base. So of course he made a correct option.
Yeah. Yeah.
and it worked out. It worked out very well.
No, it's a good partnership between both families.
Absolutely, absolutely. And even to have, Klaus and Peter's mentorship along the years, they also know. So I've been very fortunate to be close to people that know what they're talking about building.
Yeah. And Derco, what all markets do you folks get involved with as far as where Belt will take you?
Yep. So we're primarily known for our lightweight fabrication, custom fabrication. So we do a lot in food and agriculture. So, loop belts, dewatering belts, things like that. We also do tobacco belting, eddy currents, laundry belts, pretty diverse range. And then pretty much anything else that you need something to move point A to point B, basically.
Yeah.
We can do the normal stuff, the cleats, the guides, the sealed edges, but we also have some equipment to where we can do some pretty advanced stuff. We can put different profiles on our belts. We can coat with top covers of different belts with things. So makes it pretty versatile, and you can get a smaller run of what you need for it instead of buying something huge.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, value adds where it's at. You guys do have a lot of capabilities.
Yep, we do, and we do plastic modular. We assemble it there. We get into some monolithic, get into some bearings. So we try to keep it, have a diverse offering for our distributors and our OEMs. So if they're working on projects, they don't have to go all over the place to get things. They can just kind of do it in one place.
Yeah.
And that adds value too.
Oh, big time.
Yeah.
So you touched on it by mentioning one of the belts, which I'm ignorant on in tobacco, but I imagine there's different ways of handling so many different things. What all markets do you folks touch on in your experiences there?
Well, so like I mentioned eddy currents. So that's like auto recycling.
Yep.
That's a pretty big industry.
Huge.
Yeah. And like I said, laundry belts, like cruise lines, things like that, where they have laundries in there, commercial laundries, things like that.
Okay.
Yep.
Also food processing, you name it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like I said, food's pretty big with us. We do. That's probably like 40% of the things we do, basically.
We got to eat, and you got to provide for it.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, somebody's going to do it.
So I'm going to circle back to it because working with family has been pretty valuable for me. But
Sure.
working with Dad, has its rewards, I would imagine, and your brother, you guys are all pretty tight, and you better have a good working relationship with your family along the way.
Yeah, and we do. You've met my dad, you know him.
Oh, I love Paul.
Yeah, he was the type that it didn't matter whether you were his son or not. You were his employee when you walked in that door. So you didn't get any special privileges. If anything, sometimes not that he was hard on us, but he expected more out of Paul and I sometimes to kind of take that leadership role in the company too. So that really helped when it was time for Paul and I to kind of start to branch out and be the faces of the company. And he's still heavily involved too, which is great to have because we'll constantly be bouncing things off of him, and he's always open to talk. So yeah, we have a pretty tight-knit, pretty close relationship.
Well, and I get it too. I always say nepotism's a hell of an experiment, but I think if you have a good family core, something that resonates, outside of business, if you bring it into business, it can prosper ever more too. So
yeah. Starts with a good mom too. She's kind of overseeing everything.
Let's give mom credit too, please.
Credit. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm a mama's boy. I would do the same.
Yep.
So relationships. I mean, obviously, you throughout your career, you made customer relationships, vendor relationships. What makes that click for you? What do you got to thrive on that if you're going to keep going back to answering the phone and helping these people out. Mm-hmm. What do you value most there?
Conversation. We talked about this, but just like sort of what we're doing now, talking to people first, learning about their interest. When you see them, you can bring it up. Things like that. Sometimes people just want to be heard or listened to. Yeah. And I like to hear things, So information is good to have. And that really helps form the relationships. And then once you have that, people are more comfortable coming to you and bouncing things off. And even if it's something that I'm not necessarily trying to sell you, I can still maybe provide input to help out too. So I try not to go too heavy. You know me, I'm not a heavy, pushy salesperson type guy. I just like to talk.
Yeah. Well, it's a lost art. We're going to sound like old men, I'm sure,
in
this
know,
conversation
right?
because,
yeah.
A lot of people don't pick up the phone in an electronic world. People are just trying to type it out and get to the next email. And I think it's extremely valuable to have an open banter with somebody, get to know like you and I are doing right now. Even though I've got an inside track on Eric. Sorry, everybody. But
it's true. You got asymmetric information. Yep, that's right.
No, but I believe in that too. I'm personalized sales is what I preach. And I hear it from my own staff. They know who you are, they know who your family are, and they value that all the different applications that we've tackled over time in having those conversations. So.
Yeah, and you've had a great staff throughout the years. I mean, very knowledgeable people too. That's another thing I've learned so much just by talking to people over the phone when they're asking about different applications, or once again when they're bouncing things off, questions, things like that. You have a conversation, sometimes you both figure out things on the go. Because there's so many variables in belting. You can know a lot about it, but I don't think you can know everything about it because you can't anticipate everything.
No, and that's, thank God. Because otherwise,
it would be
if we
boring,
had it all
right?
figured out, it'd be pretty boring. But, you get
I don't want it too exciting, though. It's got to go right. So.
Well, and it's, we have inquisitive minds. So as you start crawling in with people, ooh, what are you doing with that? Ooh, why are you doing that with that?
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Have you ever thought about doing this or that? It's all about figuring out better applications and how to tackle them and that sort of thing. So
yeah. And I think it really helps to, when somebody calls in to Derco, somebody picks up the phone right away. It's not like a message machine or anything like that you got to dial in numbers and try to figure out who you're talking to. It could even be Paul or I some of the times picking up, and you got somebody right there that you don't have to go anywhere. I think that starts the conversation, and that's where you start to build relationships because not everybody has time to do all that, especially nowadays. They want to pick up the phone and say, hey, sometimes I need this belt. Okay, no problem. So that's one of the things that we focus on, and we can do that because we got a great office staff. We have a great production staff. So I definitely have to give them credit too. We've been loyal to them, and because of that, they're very loyal to us. So we have a lot of people that have been there for a while, and they know what they're doing, and they care. They understand our perspective of belting, which is take care of the customer. I mean, that really comes first, right?
Yeah.
So.
Well, and that speaks to your family of the culture that you guys have created. You can hang on to people with some longevity if you're doing it right.
Yeah. Got to be doing something right. They're not trying to walk out the door left and right. So, no. And they're a good group. We appreciate everybody there.
So what's your reach? You boots on the ground and getting out and seeing customers. You're not always stuck in the office, are you? Or I hear about your adventures out in the field from time to time, but I imagine you've got more than just yourselves doing that, outside sales staff, that sort of thing.
Yep, we do. We have somebody out in California, somebody up in Michigan. My dad's pretty famous for getting in the van and driving around cross country, which was cool because when I was younger, I used to get out and go with him too. So I got to see a lot of stuff when I was young. Prior to the pandemic, we're traveling fairly frequently, back when normal times got out. Once the pandemic hit, it obviously shut things down. Travel went down a little bit. And then Paul and I, we started really focusing on the role of actually running the business, the operations of it, the inventory control, things like that. So we have titles, but we wear a lot of hats there, him and I. So now it's a matter of just keeping we're up and running. We got to keep it moving, right? So, but we do get out time to time and see customers too whenever we can. Absolutely.
Good. And package things from time to time when you need to ship them.
That's right. Yep.
I like keeping other hats on. It's, every once in a while I'll step down to our shop and grab the tools and go to work because it's like I can resolve this very easily. Some people are going to darken my doorway and it might be a little bit more of a challenge than just this in front of me.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we certainly were at the convention talking about things and the National Industrial Belting Association, and it's valuable to you to be here and valuable for me to be here. Aside from NIBA, are you involved with any other groups or anything related to our industry?
No, NIBA is the primary one. I mean, we do a lot of trade shows.
There we go.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us about some of those shows you go to.
So there's the bakery show, there's the Pack Expo, there's the poultry show.
Oh yeah.
So they're great places to get a chance to see everybody because they're all in one place. So it's very efficient. We're a good size, but we're not huge. So it really helps to scale things down to where you have everybody there that you can see.
Yeah.
And you can also get a feel for what's going on in your industry too, to make sure you're staying on top of things.
Yeah, very much so. So you guys will set up a booth at most of those expos and keep your presence felt.
Mm-hmm. Yep. After this, Kevin, my dad, and our sales rep Glenn, and Kevin's son Fielding, they're heading to the bakery show. So they're going
off to Las Vegas.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
I had heard that from you and others of, holy crud, we're running one to the next. So.
Yep.
Well, tell us about this convention. What is your involvement and your father's involvement and Derco's involvement meant being part of the NIBA group? I mean, it goes a little bit beyond just an expo for you guys, certainly.
Well, yeah, absolutely. When I was a kid, my dad was always going to NIBA, so it was always this big mysterious trip that they would take, but they'd be gone for like a week, and it always sounded fun. I heard the stories. So eventually growing up and getting to take part in it, it definitely, it means a little extra because you're like, oh, now I see. Now I understand why this is such a big deal. You have people here that really care about the industry. You have a lot of information that they'll put in front of you, even, today's speakers, right? Both of them were amazing. Mm-hmm. Information about either the economy or just general information that's cool.
Yeah.
Things like that. It's a good, the networking is unmatched. I mean, it really is at a NIBA event. So if anybody was on the fence about it, at the very least going to one, I would say you're missing out.
Yeah. Somebody once said, if you're not at NIBA, you're not in belting. So I can buy into that. Mm-hmm. So I don't want to keep laboring the point of family, but I'm a family guy in a business doing it too. Along the way, you and your brother have forged a path under Dad and had a lot of time in the saddle now in the industry. I mean, obviously this is you're going to evolve like I've evolved in the industry and probably continue to run things past your old dad retiring, if he ever retires.
Yeah,
right?
I don't see that. Yeah. Retire? What?
I know,
Yeah.
exactly. Let me keep one hand on the wheel.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it's good for him. As we get older, it's important to keep that gray matter turning, and this is a fantastic industry to keep doing that in. So
yeah, I agree. 'Cause you're always thinking.
it's fun when you're not doing this, Eric.
Well, big family person. My family and I, now that I mentioned my kids are getting older now, and it's really cool to get to take your kids or like your daughter to a Pearl Jam concert.
Yeah.
Or, see a show or a musical, or even just something as simple as like a beach trip. So we try to, there's so much time that sometimes we have to spend away from each other. We really value the time that we are together. So we try to make it meaningful by I think it builds a good base, when you do that. Have close relationships with your kids. That's how we grew up. Then it worked out.
Yeah.
So I went with that for them too. If I'm just by myself, I'll pop in like an old Nintendo game or something like that.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I'm not a big video game guy, but 8-bit can't beat that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Classic. Well, they're still out there to take advantage of too. Lots of emulators and things, but I have friends who've held on to the old systems too. And,
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Cherish that.
Got to blow in the cartridge.
Yes.
Sometimes stick 2 in. Yeah.
What's a great piece of advice you might have received throughout your career?
That's a good question. I've received a lot of advice. I might have to circle back to that.
Okay.
I'll have to pull that out.
Have you ever offered any good advice? You're a father now, maybe, or maybe if you have to train people too. There's certain things you learn. I'm asking tough ones today. I'm sorry.
Yeah. One thing that I have learned is, much in the way that my dad wasn't forcing me to be in belting, but they're suggesting. Sometimes when you're working with people, you can't micromanage them. You have to let them, you're hiring them for a reason. They're doing a job for a reason. So you let them do their job, overseeing it. But I think that's what really helps. You can hang on to employees that way because they don't feel like you're constantly, breathing down their neck about something. You trust them.
Yeah.
It's a matter of trust. So.
Yeah, they'll learn the lesson figuring it out.
Right.
You got to give them some leash, though.
Exactly.
Wait, are we talking about parenting or training?
Both.
Okay. I know that one. I keep circling back to this one, and I'm worried somebody's going to spin it on me one day, and you're not going to do that in this interview, are you? What's the best nickname you've ever been given?
The best nickname, it's pretty plain. E.
What up, E?
Hey, how you doing?
Okay.
But people typically call me Eric. I don't really have a nickname.
Okay.
Surprisingly, because my name is Eric Thomas O'Connor, and no one's ever like, hey, E.T. You would think, no, I'm just Eric.
There's no plays on the last name people do with O'Connor? I mean, okay.
Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
I'll find a way to knit something together for
Yeah,
you.
Good luck. Try to invent something. It's a
Okay.
tough one. No one's figured it out yet.
Music important to you?
Very much so, yes.
You get out and see a lot of shows.
We try to. Yes.
Yeah. Well, now you're dragging the kids out to some shows, and you get to share it through another lens. That's got to be a wonderful experience.
It is. It's music's very important to them, especially my daughter.
Yes.
As I mentioned, she's really developed into quite the drummer. Really cool story. She's a huge Beatles fan.
Oh.
I'm talking huge.
Thank God.
Right. So we were at a cover band. It was actually a Journey cover band.
Okay.
But they would play songs in between, and the drummer of the band, he was kind of like the head of the band. Really cool guy. And at intermission, we were talking to him, and Alyssa was talking to him, and she was like, oh, my daughter's a drummer too. He was like, oh, she plays? And he was like, yeah. He was like, okay, wait about 2 songs in, and we'll bring her on stage.
Oh, you're kidding.
So that happened. 2 songs in, they bring her up on stage. They all talk together about what song, and they went into, now I'm mixing up two Beatles songs here, but I want to say Love Me Do. It's not Love Me Do. That'll come to me too. But she just went right into it. Saw her standing there.
Oh, okay.
Just went right into it. And it was one of the coolest things I've ever seen, because really for somebody to just, anybody be pulled up out of the audience and just nail it like that. So she got like a standing ovation, and it was also a proud dad moment.
Oh,
My jaw was like dropped. I was like, wow, I didn't expect that. So
Oh, that's amazing.
yeah, that was really cool. So music's important to us. And I'm glad that she's embraced that. And I think going to so many shows has that helped her kind of define who she is and what she wants to do.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Tell me you got a video to share later, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. I think Kimberly's going to ask for that too.
Absolutely.
It's the last one. I put it in all caps because I was going to touch on the subject of music, and we can't escape this one. What does Pearl Jam mean to you?
I knew that was coming.
Mm-hmm.
It means a lot because of even this. You know, you and I, when we get together talking about it, my wife and I, we were both huge Pearl Jam fans. So it's helped me forge a bunch of relationships in my life. But it's something that it's calming. You could put that on in the background when there's too much noise going on. You could put that in, and you could focus on something, or not focus on something, just kind of drift away. And they're so good at setting a mood, whether it's, you know, you're angry, so you want a song about that, or you just want to kind of, I'm laid back right now, or so it can really play upon your emotions and help you kind of figure out what you're experiencing at the time too.
Yeah.
And I've always thought Eddie was so good at putting it plainly of how he felt. And it kind of is like, well, sometimes, I can relate to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I like that he doesn't define it. He's left us, the audience, to go and study the lyrics and take for it what meaning we want from it.
Absolutely. Yep. Very much. A lot of songs are open to interpretation.
If you're just tuning into this, you're picking up on the fact that Eric and I are big Pearl Jam fans. and we met over Pearl Jam.
How many times have you seen them?
And not as many times as you have. I've probably seen him maybe 10 to 12 times. Which
You're up there.
I'm up there, but okay, how many times have you seen them?
I'm at about 18.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we met in 2013. That was my very first NIBA. And I remember just wading in through various conversation with you. And when I touched on one, I didn't know how far it would go in talking about our favorite band.
Yep. All these years. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And if you ever listened or were to read an email between Eric and myself, it would incorporate a lot of Pearl Jam lyrics along the way and things like, or titles of Pearl Jam songs.
When I get an email from you, it's one of my favorite things. All right, stop everything. Let me read this real quick.
Well, likewise too. It's fun. And then, you know, a new album's coming out. You know, we're kind of, it's somebody else to banter with about it. And you hit the nail on the head. Everything they've fed me has usually been through emotions and times in my life. And I like watching some of their live recordings. You know, what was it? The 2 nights at Wrigley they did.
Let's Play Two.
Yes. And, you know, what they did that's so touching for even other fans. You know, the gentleman who lost his father, and they played Release for him after he'd waited in line for 2 or 3 days, you know, solid.
Yeah.
And, you know, just a really healthy relationship with their fan base too.
They have always been great to their fans. One of the things that draws me most about them, especially in a live setting, is if you've never seen them, if you go to one concert, the next night it's a completely different concert.
Yeah.
Occasionally you get a duplicate song, but they really try to keep it interesting, keep the audience guessing. There's like tension in the air. Okay, what's next? What's going to be the opener? How are they going to close out the encore? Things like that. They're very interactive with the fans. Cool story. One time.
Give it to me.
My mom got me and Alyssa tickets for my birthday to, this was in 2003, in Camden. Front row. We're right there. So you probably know this, other people won't. Eddie Vedder used to be in a band called Bad Radio. It was one of his first bands, right? So Alyssa and I printed out we found this thing online that was like a poster, and we printed it, put it on a shirt, ironed it, and so I had a Bad Radio shirt right there. So he's in the middle of the porch, where they're doing like the soloing and things
My
like
favorite
that.
track.
And he's right there in front of us. You know how he's moving around. He looks at me for like a second and keeps on moving. There was a Bad Radio song. I knew some of his songs because, you know, I'm a Napster guy, things like that, the old days. And in the middle of the song, he's like, I feel it, I feel it. I can't remember the name of the song. But all of a sudden in Porch, and you can hear it on the bootleg, he gets on the mic and he's like, I feel it, I feel it. He didn't look at me any further than that, but I was like, I know I had to put that, did I imprint that on you? That had to be. So at the very least, that's how I interpret it.
Amen.
Yeah. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
Well, yeah, you and I've shared some stories back and forth, and I took my son to see Pearl Jam last year, and they started off with a release, and it was just, I know it's about his dad, and you know, well, it is, yeah, he's talking about his dad in release, isn't it?
Yeah, it sounds like it. Yeah,
A little
it's,
bit.
it's a pretty kind of messed up story. So
Up for us to interpret along the way. He won't make it very clear, but to me it touched a chord, because here I am with my son taking in my favorite band, and the emotions just got the best of me.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, let's thank God for this moment, you know?
Yeah, definitely can help you feel alive.
Yeah.
Yep.
And sometimes you're given to fly. So Kimberly's a big fan of that one, and it was Live on Two Legs, where they had a gal who was doing all the sign language and really into their music, that when Given to Fly came on,
Yes.
she was just rocking it.
Yes.
It was very cool to see.
Yep, absolutely. Let me ask you, how do you feel about NIBA? What is your feeling since you're in, you know, on that side of it?
Well, it's still different strokes. Where I am now, I'm appreciative of what people are taking from this. And I know I've created this vessel to deliver some of these stories like yours, Eric. But I think it's vital because, you know, people come and they network, and we don't catch everybody. And some of the elder statesmen are going away, or, you know, who knows what opportunities could drag us out of this, you know, and we run off with some information someone never knew. But it's led me into now committee meetings, which, you know, I've been kind of bebopping along through NIBAs, and not in a negative sense, but garnering good relationships, great exchanges that I learned from, war stories that you get to share with other distributors. And I think that's what's vital, is connecting with those people, and then strengthening relationships with vendors. You know, sometimes you don't hit the pause button and, you know, hit a quiet circle where you can have a banter back and forth about, you know, yes, I've been buying this, but I've been thinking about if I inventory it and I do it this way, what do you think? And, oh gosh, if, you know, you just purchase this much, we can give you a better deal on it. And it works, you know, unilaterally between both of us to continue to move that
Right.
product.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been tremendously rewarding, because you and I had to figure out what we wanted to do, and we just fell into we got drug into the belt industry. I'm like teasing. Maybe you and I are bad examples, but
yeah.
our fathers duped
elsewhere.
us is what we can wear on our shirts. But we had to do something to survive and create our dreams of starting a family and getting the white picket fence going, you know, and we make the most out of this in some way, shape, or form, and others do too. So let's talk about it, get to know and network. And I don't know that I want to climb any rungs towards the presidency, but joining some of the membership groups, I see some of the synergy created and what they're trying to do. And if this helps at all, sure. If I can use my voice to talk in some of those meetings and share into some of those good ideas that they foster, because it's been going on for decades now, and newer tools are coming along to electronically communicate with one another. And I know it's important to take advantage of those too, but I think it's vital to have conversation. So here we are.
I agree.
All right, so what other questions you got? This isn't your interview.
I'll throw it back to you now.
Well, I think we've killed enough time. I'm grateful for this, Eric. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for having me. Appreciate it.
With that, I'd like to thank you guys for tuning in. Going to keep this train rolling. This kind of ends this portion of doing it here at the convention this year, but this has been very rewarding. I'm so grateful that George got to join me and coming out this year, and he's going to have some beautiful photos to share of our lively experiences while we're networking here at the convention. And we'll get some of these episodes out on the internet and share those with people in our group, and you get to know Eric a little bit better and some others too. So I'll come back and do some more. Thank you.